Have you ever watched an NFL game and wish you could be a coach, but you don't have the skills? Well, I have the next best thing for you, fantasy football. I'm Shane Collins. Today I'm going to talk about fantasy football. I'm going to go over the different types of leagues, different types of drafts, scoring, and how to pick your players. Now that I covered what I'm going to go over today, let's get started with the different types of leagues. There are many different types of leagues that are out there, but I'm going to touch on the main four. The first kind of league I'm going to go over is the redraft league. In redraft league, each owner starts with no players at the beginning of each season and drafts an entire fantasy team. So basically, you're starting from scratch every year, picking whatever player you want at the beginning of the season. The next type of league I'm going to go over is keeper league. In keeper leagues, you're allowed to retain a small number of NFL players that are owned during the previous season, eliminating these players from the draft. And in keeper leagues, what you want to do, you usually keep about maybe 2 or 3 players, and you want them to be younger players who are also good, because you're going to have those for an X amount of number of years. The next type of league I'm going to go over is Dynasty League. Dynasty League, you're allowed to retain as many players as desired from the previous season, with the draft encompassing only rookies. But what you want to do in a Dynasty League, in your first main draft, you want to try to draft all the young players you can, because this is a Dynasty League, which means you're going to keep them for years and years to come. And the draft after that is only going to be drafting of players that are coming out of college for that year. And the last type of league I'm going to go over is IDP leagues, which is individual defensive player leagues. IDP play typically has roster space for 3 groups of defensive players: defensive linemen, linebackers, and defensive backs. Now that you know what type of leagues there are, now you need to know what kind of drafts are out there. And there are mainly three different types of drafts that are out there. First is an auto-pick draft. You rank your players in order in which you want them to be drafted. Once you have everyone registered in your league, the commissioner will change your draft settings to ready, and it's just an auto draft. The computer does it for you, and that's just the quickest way to get a league started if you don't really have time to do a live draft, which is the second type of draft there is. And in a live draft, everyone in the league gets together at a certain time and picks the players they want. And then the third type of draft there is an offline draft. They're mainly used in dynasty leagues. This type of league is used when everyone gets together in person and has a draft, and then enters in their results after the draft has occurred. And the reason I say that it's mainly used in dynasty leagues is because most websites that you go to, they don't have like dynasty leagues set up, so you just do an offline draft, and the commissioner will enter in all the results, all the players later on in the draft. Now that we know the different types of drafts, let's get into how football leagues are scored. What I'm going to go over is just the basic type of draft there is. At any time, the commissioner can change the settings to whatever he wants, but this is basically how it goes down. In scoring, you get 1 point for every 25 passing yards, 1 point for 10 rushing yards, 1 point for 10 receiving yards, 6 points for a touchdown, 4 points for a passing touchdown, -2 points for every interception thrown or fumble lost, 1 point for each extra point made, 3 points for each 0 to 39-yard field goal made, 4 points for each 40 to 49-yard field goal made, and 5 points for each 50-plus yard field goal made. 2 points per turnover gained by the defense, 1 point per sack by the defense, 2 points for a safety by the defense, 6 points for each touchdown scored by the defense, and 2 points for each blocked kick. And when I say defense, usually in fantasy football, you pick a team's defense. Like if you want to pick a team that has a really good defense, you could pick like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's scoring for basic offense. In IDP leagues, the scoring will go like this: 2 points per solo tackle, 1 point per assisted tackle, 6 points for a defensive touchdowns, 2 points per safety, 1 point per pass defended, 2 points per half sack, 2 points per fumble recovered, 2 points per forced fumble, and 2 points for an interception. Now that we know the different types of scoring, let's get into how to pick your players. And how I'm doing this is based on the most basic scoring that you could have for fantasy football, which is what I just covered. At any time, the commissioner could change the settings to whatever he wants, and that could alter the type of picks that you make. But in this type of draft, this type of league, with the basics, this is how I would pick my players. Running backs always are picked first. I would say the first 2 rounds you pick running backs because, like I said before, you get 1 point per 10 yards rushing. And in running backs, you can also pass to. So that's also, you get rushing and receiving with a running back instead of just, like a wide receiver would just get, 1 point for 10 yards receiving, and that'd be it. So you want to go 2 running backs first, then I'd go 2 wide receivers next, because quarterbacks are the least amount scored, unless you have a running quarterback. But there's only like 2 running backs in the league that can actually run as well as pass. So I'd pick my quarterback in the 5th round, and then after that I would go with my tight end, defense, and kicker. And then I'd pick my bench. Now that I hit all my main points, let me sum up what I've talked about today. Today I talked about the different types of leagues, different types of drafts, scoring, and how to pick my players. And I hope after you hear this, you will also want to be part of a fantasy football league. Thank you.